War of Jenkins Ear. Welcome to the 1700s, where international diplomacy was performed with swords, questionable facial hair, and, apparently, ears. Yes, this whole war started because British Captain Robert Jenkins had his ear allegedly chopped off by Spanish coast guards in 1731. He went back to England, fished his decaying ear out of his pocket, no, really, and waved it around Parliament, demanding revenge. Politicians, never ones to miss an opportunity for drama, used Jenkins Ear as an excuse to go full send against Spain in 1739. But here's the punchline. Even after all the pirates, privateers, and blood spilled across the Caribbean and Florida, literally nothing was solved. No one cared about the ear. Nobody even double-checked it was really Jenkins. The war eventually got absorbed into the even bigger War of Austrian Succession. So it's like Jenkins' ear was the splash page, but someone else stole the plot. Great affairs often spring from small causes, Voltaire wrote, probably thinking, but this is ridiculous. In the end, territory barely shifted, lives were lost, and Jenkins, a guy with half the standard number of ears, became a footnote in one of the most pointless dramas ever. Moral of the story, maybe leave body parts at home. Football War. It sounds like the world's greatest halftime show, but the Football War of 1969 was less about World Cup goals and more about, actual guns. El Salvador and Honduras played each other in a 3-match soccer playoff for a World Cup spot, and the games were so heated that fans rioted, people died, and everyone forgot the blissful unity FIFA pretends to create. Then politicians got involved, classic, and turned months of simmering tension over immigration and land rights into open warfare. You'd think it would end with penalty kicks. Nope. Over 4 days, both sides bombed each other's cities, soldiers invaded, and over 3,000 people died, all while the rest of the world was like, wait, are you guys fighting over soccer? Of course, the match was just the spark. Underneath was decades of land disputes and population issues, which, by the way, remained unresolved after the war. The border didn't really change. People just lost their lives and homes. Author Eduardo Galeano later said, "It's silly to say that football has nothing to do with war, but this war, total own goal." War of the Bucket. Picture this, hundreds of knights jousting, thousands of soldiers swinging swords, and the big prize, a wooden bucket. Yes, in 1325, the Italian cities of Modena and Bologna went absolutely feral over a medieval Home Depot item. It started when Modenese raiders stole a bucket from a city well in Bologna, who then responded with the energy of someone whose favorite water bottle was stolen at the gym. Insulted civic pride escalated, armies mobilized, and the two cities clashed at the Battle of Zappolino, which sounds delightful but was a bloodbath. The body count, over 2,000 dead for a bucket. And just to rub salt in the wound, Modena kept the bucket. It's still displayed in their cathedral because if you're going to risk a medieval Black Friday battle, you might as well keep the receipt. Theologian Thomas Aquinas never mentioned buckets as a cause of sin, but maybe he should have. At the end of it all, Modena was basically like, Gigi, get your own bucket next time. Human pettiness, undefeated for centuries. Anglo-Zanzibar War. Turn on your stopwatch, literally, because the Anglo-Zanzibar War of 1896 is the Usain Bolt of conflicts, clocking in at a world record 38 to 45 minutes. Zanzibar's Sultan died, his successor hopped on the throne without British permission, big mistake, and Queen Victoria's squad gave an ultimatum. Step down or else. The new sultan said, nah, and within the length of an episode of The Office, the British had shelled his palace, sunk his yacht, and replaced him with their preferred ruler. Only one British sailor was injured, by accident, naturally, While over 500 Zanzibari lost their lives, why didn't anyone just phone it in and agree to, like, rock, paper, scissors? This was the 19th century equivalent of rage quitting when you're losing at Mario Kart. No major consequences, nothing solved, and a Guinness World Record that no one really brags about. If wars were TikToks, this one would be the viral, did I just say that out loud, moment of geopolitics. Pastry War. You drank oat milk before it was cool. How about a war fought over a French guy's ruined pastry shop in Mexico? That's the Pastry War of 1838-1839. A French pastry chef living in Mexico City claimed that Mexican officers trashed his shop and left him financially toasted. France was like, justice for croissants, and demanded a wild 600,000 pesos in compensation, equivalent to millions of dollars today, so those must have been some serious eclairs. When Mexico said, LOL, no, France blockaded Mexican ports, bombarded the coast, and sent in troops. Thousands of people paid, literally and figuratively, for a bakery beef. Even future Mexican President Santa Anna lost a leg in the fighting, which he later leveraged into a whole new career, selling his own legend. Eventually, Mexico coughed up the dough, pun intended. France withdrew, and the world learned pastry shops are apparently worth more than entire neighborhoods. As French writer Alexandre Dumas summed it up, all wars are civil wars. This one was more of a food fight. War of the Stray Dog. All pet owners know the scenario. You lose your dog, panic, and do something embarrassing. In 1925, Greek and Bulgarian border troops almost started World War III because of a single runaway pup. Here's the setup. A Greek soldier's dog bolted across the border near Petrich. The soldier chased after him, got shot by Bulgarian guards, and, because escalation is the national sport, Greece invaded. Within days, both sides were flexing like two overprotective parents at a Little League game. The League of Nations had to intervene, basically putting everyone in timeout and forcing Greece to pay reparations. A whole war nearly broke out over a literal "who's a good boy," proof that dogs really are man's best and most dangerous friend. As philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein might say, if a lion could talk, we would never understand him. If a dog could talk, he'd probably just ask for treats and accidentally start a war. Pig War. An American farmer, a British officer, and a pig walk into a potato patch. No, seriously. The Pig War of 1859 was basically a slapstick joke that lasted 12 years. The San Juan Islands between British Canada and America were jointly occupied, whatever that means. One day, an American shot a British pig that was rooting around in his potatoes. Both sides freaked out, sent in warships and troops, and braced for battle. The official casualty list: 1 pig. No human blood was spilled, but both armies camped out for over a decade, just in case the other side tried any funny business. The solution? Let Germany's Kaiser decide the border. Plot twist: he gave it to the Americans. As historian Barbara Tuchman joked, never have two great nations spent so much money and effort to settle a dispute over a pig. The only lesson: don't let farm animals write your foreign policy. Aroostook War. The Aroostook War is basically New Englanders and Canadians arguing over who gets the best maple syrup trees, minus actual fighting. Set in 1838-1839, Maine and British-controlled New Brunswick got spicy over who owned the Aroostook region, which was rich in timber, red cash money. Both sides milled around, built forts, and called in militias. But nobody really wanted to fire the first shot over a bunch of pine cones. The grand total deaths, 0, unless you count trees. Newspapers hyped it like it was the sequel to the War of 1812, but it turned into a lumberjack cosplay. When people talk about war for resources, they probably didn't mean beaver pelts and Christmas trees. Eventually, the Webster-Ashburton Treaty politely drew the border we use today. The only winners: local inns and taverns, which made bank off thousands of bored militiamen. Turns out, even pointless wars can produce great memes and better maple syrup. Found this video interesting? Leave us a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Let us know what we should cover next in the comments below.